Yo, it is Saturday night, February 22nd, 2025. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Doing a little bit of vaping and some drinking. Got off the video conferencing with some of my friends. We got a good lineup for you here in this video segment. I think you're going to like it. So you stick around. We're going to have a little bit of fun. Yeah. Anyone that knows me knows about my computer museum. It contains almost every computer that I had back in the 1970s and 80s, including all the gaming systems that I really enjoyed during that era. Man, let me tell you, this has been an amazing little thing that I've put together for myself. And you know, my museum even contains a couple of systems of modern times here in recent years. It's the Atari ColecoVision flashbacks and the Intellivision flashbacks. Unfortunately, they didn't make these systems with SD cards, so they couldn't be expandable very easy. But that's okay. That's a future project to come. And nowadays, if you want to play your Atari 2600 games, you got to have a great system like the Retron 77 here, which not only plays cartridges, but has an SD card slot so you can add your games to SD cards, plug it in, and play them with that. Now, it does have its own limitations. Or unless you're somebody like myself who likes to modify gaming consoles and create their own systems, that's another option. However, not everybody's into that. And a lot of the new systems nowadays just don't have their shit together. Let me tell you a little bit about the Atari 2600 back in the day of the early 1980s. The Atari 2600 from the early 1980s had some really great games. Most of the games used joysticks and were really good with playability. But some of the most amazing games of that time and the most popular games of that time used paddles. Paddles had knobs that you turned back and forth instead of using a joystick. And this made gaming so much easier for some games. We had awesome games like Kaboom that absolutely must have paddles to play. With a joystick, you couldn't do it. Games like Night Driver, which is one of my favorite ones. There's no way that you could go traverse the streets at night without one. And also, great games like Warlords. They use paddles also. Playing this game without it, an impossible task. Folks contact me and ask, hey, Dr. Crasher, what system do you recommend when it comes to being able to play old Atari cartridge games? And something that has an SD card slot so I can take my SD card that's full of my favorite games that I've been able to get from the internet, plug it in and play those also. And it plays joysticks and also paddle controllers. Well, I've recommended the Retron 77. She's been a good girl for the last couple of years. And they've made some actual great enhancements and additions to this, such as the game controller pads that now have the built-in paddles. I've always liked the Retron 77. It's not fully 100% compatible, nothing really is, but she's been a good one. However, there has been issues with her, and there has been issues to whereas some of the paddle games didn't work with her. That's an issue that I've always had with, and well, it's time to look around and see what's available here in the modern era. So while shopping around, I found the Atari 2600 Plus. This looks like a cute little system. It looks like it uses joysticks and paddles. Problem was though is that after seeing some reviews on YouTube, I noticed that a lot of the game cartridges don't work on this thing. It also doesn't have an SD card slot, so I can't play my favorite games using an SD card. Well, that's a bummer. I'm not going to go and get this thing, and I'm not going to recommend it to my people. So, oops, you're out. Then I started looking at the Atari 7800 Plus. Well, this looks like an interesting system. Hey, but the problem is once again, compatibility issues and also paddle problems. You know, I know that not every system is going to be 100% compatible. Nothing but maybe the original Atari 2600 is going to be capable of that. But you'd think that they would go and build these things that would be compatible with both the game pads and it would be compatible with the number pads and the paddles for some of the best games that we played back in the early 1980s. I don't know what's going on, but you know, I'm going to keep searching. Yo, what the hell is this? Okay, this looks interesting. Hey, not bad looking. Okay, I like the LEDs lights that's on the joysticks. And they're wireless, and you can also wire them in. Okay, this is cool. It also has a paddle controller built into the controllers. It has a B and C button. It has HDMI. Oh yeah, an SD card slot so I can put all my favorite games on. Well, it may not have a cartridge slot, but folks, I like this right here. You know, it's compatible with the 26, 5200, 7800, and arcades. Oh yeah, we're going to have to check this thing out. Like I said, it doesn't play cartridges, but yeah, I'm going to have to get one of these and check it out. So let's go get one. So I went over to eBay and took a look. Turns out these things I can get them for $35 to $50 with free shipping. Oh hell yeah. This is a lot better than paying $120. And they're in new or like new condition. Yeah, getting one of these shipped over to my house right now. Introducing the new Atari Gamestation Pro. Look at this thing. The Atari Gamestation Pro. Folks, this looks really nice looking out of the box. Hey, check it out. 200 games comes with this thing. And it's even compatible with the Atari 2600, the Atari 5200, the Atari 7800, and Atari Arcade. This means this is probably compatible with more than just these gaming systems. And you know what? We're going to find out. Let's open it up and take a look at this beauty, see what's inside, shall we? Wow, this thing is really pretty. Look at this. It's practically brand new. Comes with a console, looks like it comes with the joysticks, it comes with instructions. Alright, this is nice. Hey, check it out. Okay, I'm impressed when it comes to the looks. It's got a power button, it's got a home button, looks like it's got two USB-C connectors in the front for the joysticks. It also has HDMI output and comes with an HDMI cable for the system. It has 5 volts in and a reset button. Hey, I'm liking this. But you know what I'm really liking? This, the micro SD card. Yeah, with this right here, I'm going to be able to put thousands and thousands of games on this thing. This is going to be amazing. And you know what? You can too. So that SD card is the game changer. And you know, while I was on eBay, I decided to go ahead for $12, get me one of these right here. It's a 45 watt little power supply. It provides power to the USB-C to the unit. You can also get these things to charge up your phones. I highly recommend them. They last longer and they're more powerful and they'll charge stuff up faster. So yeah, if you get a chance while you're on eBay, grab you one of these. You'll like it. And you know, while I was at it, I knew that the joysticks used batteries because they're also wireless and wired. So I went to Dollar Tree, got some 8 pieces for $1.25. Not bad for getting some AA batteries, huh? Not bad at all. Oh wow, look at this. This is cute. It has an A button and a B button. This is really cute. Thank you, My Arcade. I appreciate you going and creating this. Did a good job, folks. Did a good job. And take a look at this menu. You've got the home button, the select button, and the start button. That's great having this on the joystick so you don't have to get up and keep messing with the console and sitting back down whenever you want to change out games. You do everything from the joystick. Good thinking, guys. Good thinking. Good job. There's our A button. There's our B button. Oh yeah, good job. It even has a little trigger button in the very front, which we'll take a look at here in a bit. But take a look at this. This is the one that I am interested in. This little knob that you see right here, which can actually be expanded in size, believe it or not. This is our paddle control knob. This right here is going to allow us to play all those great little games like Kaboom, Night Driver, Warlords, Breakout, Circus Atari. Yeah, this is really cool. I am so glad to see that they have got this built into the joystick. It's about damn time they did something like this. And looky here. Looks like you've got your power knob on here, actually your power button. You've got your 5 volts in. This right here allows you to connect to your console with a USB-C cable. It also has a menu button, a wireless mic. Yeah, these guys, they thought of everything when it comes to the joystick. And check it out. Even the little trigger is a C button right here. So this will be compatible with other gaming consoles. And look, you fit your batteries at the very bottom if you want to go wireless. Yeah, awesome job, guys. One of the things you're going to have to do is upgrade the firmware to your Atari, all right? So, first and foremost, it comes with version 1.20. And believe me, this is a terrible version of firmware that your system has. It has issues with your SD card. In fact, when you start trying to take games that you have, if you have hundreds of them, most of us like to put them in folders and alphabetize them. Well, unfortunately, under firmware version 1.2, it won't recognize other folders. And so you've got to take all your games and stick it all on the SD card, and that's a pain in the ass, all right? So you're going to need to have this upgrade to fix this. A second fix that's going to be done is that many of the games, the paddle games, that are not included on the Atari's carousel will not work with the paddle. Well, in 1.3, they did fix this problem by creating a folder that, well, actually you'll have to create the folder that is basically Atari Paddles folder, where you'll stick all your paddle games into it, and version 1.3 will allow you to play all the paddle games that is there. So this firmware is critical, okay? You folks go and get it. Now, to get to the site is going to be very easy. You go to the Atari Gamestation Pro firmware page. If you can't find it, go to Google, you'll find it. And you'll scroll down the page and you'll find the link to the firmware. Click on the firmware and download it to your computer. Now, once it's on your computer, you're going to be using a program like 7-Zip or some other freeware system that will unzip files. And you're going to unzip it into a folder, okay? Now, once you get that done, you're going to go into the folder itself that it created. And within that folder, you're going to see three smaller folders. You're going to see a driver folder, a firmware updater, and the firmware itself. Now, the driver folder is really simple. You go into it and start beginning to install the drivers onto your computer, which will allow it to recognize your Atari when you connect it to your computer to update the firmware. Afterwards, you're going to be going into the firmware updater, which is the actual software you're going to run on your computer to update its firmware from 1.2 to 1.3. And the firmware files that you need is going to be located under the firmware folder itself, including the loader. So, once you get into the drivers, just simply go into it and you'll find the file that you're going to need to do to update your PC. Double click on it. It'll go ahead and say install the new driver. You go ahead and click install it. Boom, bada bing. Your computer is now ready to connect to your Atari. We're then going to go ahead and get the firmware updater ready to go to upgrade the firmware on your Atari. This is a really simple thing to do. What you're going to do is go into the firmware update folder, and there you're going to see the file that you're going to double click on to launch the firmware updater. Now, once it comes up on the screen, what you're going to do is click at the very top of the menu what's called the loader. Now, at the very end where the red circle is, that's where you're going to click on that. And what it's going to do is want to ask where's the location of the loader file that it's going to need. You'll go into the folder that has firmware on it, because in there it has both your files, the loader and the firmware. You'll choose the loader, and then you'll get that loaded up into the firmware updater. And once you get that done, then you'll go to the second part of the list, which says where the firmware file is. And you'll do the same thing with it. It'll ask where is the folder, or where is the firmware loader located at. And then you'll get into that firmware and you'll click it and loaded it in. And at that point in time, your firmware updater is ready to go and start updating your Atari. The next thing you'll do is to take your USB cable that you have handy. It's USB-A to USB-C. You'll plug it into your PC. You'll go ahead and you'll grab your Atari, and then you'll plug in the USB-C directly into the back of it. Now, if the Atari does turn on at this point, go ahead and turn it off, all right? Make sure there's no lights on it. And then at this point, you're going to need either a paper clip, or you're going to need to have some kind of an SD card removal kit, which we use on some of our phones. And at the very back of the Atari, you're going to push that little key in to the back of the hole, in the reset hole. And you're going to hold it in and it's going to click. Now, at this point, when it clicks, you're going to hit the fire button, or the start button on the Atari. And once you do, if you look back on your screen, your firmware updater is going to recognize your Atari and it's going to see it. And at this point in time, when you see it, go ahead and just click on run, and what it's going to do is it's going to start updating the firmware on your Atari. In fact, it'll give you a nice little menu list showing what it's going on there on the right side. And this could take a couple minutes, so give it a little bit of time. And then when it's 100% complete, you're all done. In fact, at this point, you just simply go to your Atari, and if it's turned on, you turn it off and unplug it. You're ready to go. Now, one of the things I want to let you know is that since I have done the upgrade from 1.3, I found out on some websites, on some of the homebrew websites, that there's actually been a modified version of version 1.3. It's called version 1.30C. You're going to want to get this firmware and basically repeat this process that I just went through with. But you're going to be using the 1.30C firmware to update. Now, what this is going to do is allow you to load in games directly from the carousel over into your SD card when you plug it in. And you're going to be able to modify and add games to the carousel. So this is going to be something that's really, really handy. You're going to want to do this, and it's going to be easy to add games, your favorite games, to the carousel if that's the way that you want to play games, okay? If not, you can always mount the SD card later and then go ahead and play your games from that. Well, anyways, let's continue. Now remember, this unit uses a micro SD card, and I recommend getting somewhere around about a 32, 64 gig or 128 gig to do it. And you'll also need what is called an USB to SD card reader. And that's so you can go in, you can format your SD card, and you're going to want to make sure and format it using exFAT. And once you go and format it under exFAT, you'll simply access the SD card, and you'll have a folder in there called games that you're going to have to manually put in. And within that games, that's where you're going to be putting the games to your consoles that you're going to be adding to this. One thing I need to tell you that is very, very important. Inside that games folder, check it out. Do you see that folder in there called Atari 2600 Paddle? Not paddles, it's paddle as in singular. That folder is going to have to be created by you. And if you're wanting to play any of your paddle games that you download from the internet, you're going to have to stick them within that folder. Now, you can put them into subfolders to alphabetize them, to categorize them any way you want. But if you're going to want to play those paddle games, they will have to be in that folder. So make sure that you put it in a folder. Else, if you try to just go and stick them in some other folder outside of that folder, they're not going to work. You've been warned. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but I'm going to show you something. This right here is what my SD card looks like. Now, you saw earlier when I created a folder called Games. That's where all my games goes, and that is for the Atari 2600, the 5200, 7200, the Atari Paddle games. That is where my Sega games goes. That is where my Nintendo games go. All the game systems and games I've got for those systems will play on this Atari, and they go straight into the games folder. Now that's for this SD card. Now also, you see the folder called States. States is actually a folder that the Atari Gamestation Pro uses when you want to pause and save games at a certain area. Like right before you die, you knew that you made a mistake in the game and you wanted to save the state before you died so you can get further in the game instead of having to go all the way to the beginning. Well, you can save your states and the states are saved there. And also you see there's a folder in there called Toolbox. That's a folder that I personally put in there, and that's because I've got utilities and other little things that I use to go and help enhance my Atari. It's my personal stash, but you can put a folder in there and keep it in there just in case you ever need it. Now you'll see that there's two other folders that's in here, and when you upgrade your firmware to version 1.30C from the homebrew people, it's going to go and put those two folders into your SD card. So you're going to have AGSP. Basically, this is your booter folder. And what this does is that this tells the Atari to start booting and moving information from their carousel onto the SD card. And do you see that folder called Data? Inside of Data, there's a file in there that you can actually add games to, names of games that you're going to be adding to the carousel, and also a place in there where you can store your games, including box art, and have it displayed on the carousel also. So this is kind of a neat feature. Just go to their website, check it out, read it, figure it out. You will figure it out. It's not a big deal, but at least I wanted to show you what that looks like, okay? There you go. Hey, Dr. Crasher, where do you get all the games from, man? Hey, how the hell should I know? Do you think I'm somebody that knows where to get games from off of the internet? I haven't got a damn clue. I don't know. Go ask your mom. Maybe your mom knows where the hell they are at. Then again, maybe ask your dad. That is, of course, if your dad isn't like already left the house already, okay? I don't know. Ask your sister. Go ask the neighbor. I don't know. Talk to the damn dog. See if I know. Ha! I got no clue where you can find games at. Talk to the cat. The cats drag in shit that is like only aliens from space could bring here to Earth, alright? Do I look like somebody or even sound like somebody that knows where to get games at for your silly console? Haha, man, and much less even if I did know where the games are. Do you think I'd have a clue as to how to download the damn things if I did know where they were at? Ha, boy, are you full of it. You got no damn clue how to go and download the games or get the games. Where's the games, Dr. Crasher? I got no idea. Man, folks, you got the wrong guy. I ain't got a clue. Now, when you first put your SD card into the system and then turn it on, you're going to have two choices, local storage or micro SD card. Choosing local storage will get you to the main screen. And from there, you can go straight to what's called the carousel, where all the games on the unit is located at. You got games like Asteroids and, well, let's see what the next one is, Adventure, other awesome games you could choose. And once you click on one of these right here, what's going to come up is a little bit of an information, box art, so forth. And when you click on it, it'll take you straight to the game so you can start beginning to play. Now, if you do choose to go to mount the micro SD card, that's going to take you to a menu. And from there, you can choose your gaming consoles like Atari 2600 right here. It's really nice. And then you can, depending on how you alphabetize your games, you can go into that folder right there, go into where your games are located at, and then click the fire button, click select. There's Adventure right there, and take a look. Here's Bugs Bunny. See? Pretty simple, isn't it, folks? You got this. Wow, folks, what an absolutely amazing little system. I've had time to play with this and I really, really like it. It's so pretty. I wish I could give you a better quality image right here, but my potato phone isn't worth a shit, especially the camera. But looking at this right here, it is so pretty. You got the carousel, you've got all these games on here, and you can have access to so many other games. And with the 1.30C, you can add more games to this carousel. By the way, I highly recommend that you get one of these. Going on eBay and getting one from $35 to $50 to pick up a unit like this, is it worth it? You bet. It'll bring you hours, days, weeks, months, even years of fun. Go down and get you one of these. Follow my directions, set it up. You got this. Wow, and here we are at the end of the video. You know, my ass needs a shave after spending days and weeks trying to make this video and putting all this footage together. But you know, it's been worth it. And I really hope that you consider getting one of these. Because, you know, I make these videos to inspire and to help folks out. And to let you know that, you know, even though these are old by comparisons to the gaming systems that are out nowadays, they really are cool and they are lots of fun. This system is absolutely rocking. I absolutely love it. And by the way, I just want to let you know, you be staying tuned because I'm going to be making some new videos here this year with some new concepts and some new consoles that I think you're going to like, okay? So you stick around, you enjoy these, and let me know if you like them. Subscribe, like, do whatever you know. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm always here for you, all right, boys and girls? I love you. You guys take care of each other. Be good to each other, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.